My dear sisters, hear this truth. The path of the chosen is never the easy path. The journey of the favored is never without trials. If you have felt the weight of loneliness, if you have questioned why your heart aches while you walk in obedience, know this: you are set apart. From the beginning, the ones chosen for greatness have walked a road that few understand. The world does not recognize what is sacred. The crowd does not celebrate what is holy. And because you have been called to something higher, you cannot fit into places that were never meant for you. Loneliness is not punishment, it is preparation. Look through history and you will see every woman called to something greater had seasons of solitude. Seasons where no one understood her, seasons where she was set apart, refined, strengthened. Why? Because destiny requires separation. You cannot be like everyone else and still carry divine purpose. You cannot blend in with the world and still shine with heaven's fire. Your loneliness is not a curse. It is a sign that you are different, a sign that your heart beats to a higher calling, a sign that you are not made for shallow connections, but for divine appointments. Do not mistake separation for rejection. The world may overlook you, friends may drift away, relationships may not work out, but understand this: what is removed from your life is making room for something greater. The ones who walk in purpose cannot be tied to those who do not understand it. The ones who carry favor cannot be bound to what will hinder them. So do not weep over what is missing. Do not despair over solitude. Use this season, grow in wisdom, strengthen your faith, prepare for what is ahead. Because when the time comes, when the doors open, when destiny calls, you will not be found weak and weary, but ready and refined. Sisters, loneliness is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of something powerful. Walk boldly, knowing that you are chosen, set apart, and destined for greatness. Amen. Loneliness is a weight that many chosen women carry, a burden that presses against the heart, whispering questions of worth and purpose. It is not an easy road, but it is a necessary one. To be set apart means to walk a different path, a road that few travel, a journey that often feels like it is walked alone. But this is not a curse. It is a sign that a higher calling is at work in your life, a sign that you were never meant to blend in with the crowd or be entangled in places that would limit your growth. When the world does not understand you, when friends turn away, when relationships fade, it is not because you are unworthy, but because you are chosen. From the beginning of time, those who have carried divine purpose have also carried seasons of solitude. It is not rejection, it is refinement. Look at the women who have gone before, those who have been called to something greater. They were never the ones who fit into the mold. They were never the ones celebrated by the masses. Instead, they were set apart, separated from what was ordinary so that something extraordinary could be birthed through them. Loneliness is not a punishment, but a process. It strips away the distractions, clears the noise, and allows divine truth to take root in a deeper way. The world often equates loneliness with failure, as if being alone means something is missing. But that is a deception. The truth is that some seasons of isolation are divine protection. There are relationships that could have pulled you away from your purpose. There are friendships that would have slowed your journey. There are connections that would have weakened your faith. So rather than seeing loneliness as a sign of being forgotten, see it as evidence that you are being preserved for something greater. You were not made for shallow connections or meaningless attachments. You were designed for divine appointments, for relationships that strengthen, not weaken your calling. There is a reason the chosen ones often walk alone. There is a reason the favored are not always surrounded by crowds. The road to purpose is narrow and few find it. The process of becoming who you were meant to be requires moments where you feel unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. But these are the moments that build strength. These are the moments that develop faith. These are the moments where your foundation is tested, ensuring that when the time comes, you will not be shaken. Loneliness teaches you to rely not on the approval of others, but on the truth within you. It strips away the need for validation, for constant affirmation, and replaces it with unshakable confidence in your calling. It teaches you to stand when no one else is standing with you. It prepares you to walk forward when the road is uncertain. If you were surrounded by constant affirmation, if you never faced moments of solitude, you would never develop the strength required for the journey ahead. The chosen and the favored cannot afford to be distracted by relationships that do not align with their destiny. If you find yourself feeling alone, if you wonder why connections seem to fade, do not let discouragement take root. Instead, ask yourself, what is being removed so that something greater can be built? What is being stripped away so that something more powerful can be established? The loneliness you feel is not evidence of loss, but of preparation. It is a refining fire that purifies your heart, a process that removes anything that does not belong so that what remains is unshakable. The world will try to convince you that something is wrong when you walk alone. It will try to tell you that you need to fit in, to seek companionship at any cost, to settle for relationships that do not align with your purpose. But do not fall for the deception. Temporary companionship is not worth sacrificing eternal purpose. The moments of solitude are not meant to destroy you, they are meant to strengthen you. They are the training ground for something greater. Consider this: if you were meant to stand in the light, why would you be placed in the shadows? If you were meant to lead, why would you be hidden? The answer is simple: because before great purpose is revealed, there is always a season of preparation. Before elevation comes separation. Before the doors open, there is a time of waiting, and that waiting often looks like loneliness. But what may feel like isolation is actually a season of transformation. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared. You are not being abandoned. You are being positioned. The silence is not empty. It is filled with purpose. The loneliness you feel is proof that you are different. It is evidence that you are not meant to walk the same road as everyone else. It is a sign that your life is not ordinary, that your calling is not small. And because of that, you cannot afford to be attached to just anything or anyone. Your journey requires a different kind of strength, a different kind of faith, a different kind of focus. If you were meant to stay in comfort, you would not feel the weight of being set apart. If you were meant to live an average life, you would not experience the trials that shape extraordinary faith. Embrace the loneliness not as a burden, but as a confirmation. See it not as a season of lack, but as a season of preparation. The world does not celebrate those who walk differently, but it is those very people who bring change. It is those who refuse to conform, who refuse to settle, who refuse to be defined by the standards of others, that rise into their true purpose. Do not fight against the process. Do not seek to rush what is meant to refine you. Instead, trust that this season is doing something in you that cannot be done in any other way. And when the time comes, when you step into what has been prepared for you, you will look back and understand. You will see why certain doors had to close, why certain people had to leave, why certain seasons required you to stand alone. You will see that every moment of loneliness was not wasted, but was necessary. It was the shaping of your purpose, the refining of your heart, the strengthening of your spirit. You will realize that you were never truly alone. Every step of the journey was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. Separation is not an accident, it is not a mistake, and it is certainly not a punishment. It is a process, a divine strategy to prepare you for something greater. When you are being set apart, it can feel like rejection, but in reality it is redirection. It can feel like abandonment, but in truth it is alignment. The path of purpose is never crowded, because those who carry something significant must go through a refining process that not everyone is willing to endure. When you feel separation happening in your life, when relationships begin to shift, when familiar places no longer feel the same, when doors close that you thought would always be open, it is not because you are being punished, it is because you are being positioned. Positioned for something higher, for something deeper, for something that requires more than you have ever given before. Growth does not happen in comfort. Transformation does not take place in places of complacency. To be elevated, you must be separated from what no longer serves you. There are things in your life that cannot go with you where you are headed. There are connections that, if they remained, would only slow you down. There are habits, mindsets, and distractions that must be stripped away so that you can be sharpened, strengthened, and prepared for what is ahead. It is painful, yes, but it is necessary. There is no great calling without a great refining. There is no anointing without a breaking. There is no elevation without isolation. This is the way of those who are destined for more. Look at those who have carried great purpose before you. They did not live lives of ease. They were not surrounded by comfort at all times. They were tested, they were tried, they were separated from what was familiar so that they could be shaped for what was greater. Separation is where you learn trust. It is where you learn endurance. It is where you learn to walk by faith and not by sight. If you never experienced the discomfort of separation, you would never develop the strength required for the journey ahead. When people walk away, when opportunities fade, when you find yourself in a season where you feel alone, it is not because you are forgotten. It is because you are in training. You are in a process where distractions are being removed so that clarity can come, where noise is being silenced so that you can hear clearly. If you were surrounded by constant affirmation, by endless approval, you would never develop the ability to stand on your own. And those who are called to great things must have the strength to stand when no one else is standing with them. The process of separation reveals what is truly within you. It exposes what is weak so that it can be made strong. It uncovers what is unstable so that it can be made firm. It brings to the surface everything that would hinder you so that it can be removed before you step into greater purpose. This is why the process is not quick. It is why it does not feel easy, because it is doing something deep within you, something that cannot be rushed, something that must be fully completed before you can move forward. Many people resist the process of separation because they see it as punishment. They see it as a sign that something is wrong, when in reality, it is a sign that something is right. If you were meant to remain in the same place, surrounded by the same things, doing the same routines, you would not feel the shift. But because you were created for something more, you feel the pull, the stretching, the discomfort of being moved into a new place. Do not fight it. Do not resist what is actually working for your good. If you hold on to what is meant to be removed, you will only delay the process. If you refuse to let go of what is no longer serving you, you will find yourself stuck, unable to step into what is waiting for you. Separation is painful because it requires sacrifice. It requires you to trust beyond what you can see. It requires you to release what feels familiar so that you can embrace what is greater. It requires you to believe that what is ahead is better than what is behind. There will be moments in this journey where you question why things had to change, why certain people had to leave, why certain opportunities had to disappear. But in time, you will see. You will look back and realize that what you thought was loss was actually protection. What you thought was rejection was actually preparation. You will see that if you had remained where you were, you would have never stepped into what was waiting for you. The process of separation does not just remove, it refines. It strips away the excess, the unnecessary, the distractions, so that what remains is pure, strong, and unshakable. It is in these moments that your faith is tested, that your endurance is strengthened, that your purpose is clarified. And when you emerge from this process, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, wiser, and ready for what is ahead. So do not despise the process. Do not see it as a punishment, but as a preparation. Do not resist the refining fire, for it is shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. Trust that the separation is leading to something greater. Trust that what is being removed is making way for what is coming. Trust that the discomfort of this season is producing something within you that will last for eternity. There is a reason for the separation. There is a purpose in the process. And in time, you will see that every moment of loneliness, every shift, every change was not meant to break you, but to build you. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. And what is coming is greater than anything you could have imagined. Separation can feel like rejection. It can feel like being cast aside, abandoned, forgotten. But the truth is, separation is not rejection, it is redirection. It is refinement. It is a process that is shaping you, positioning you, and preparing you for something greater than you can see right now. If you misunderstand separation, you may find yourself discouraged, questioning your worth, wondering why certain people left, why doors closed, why opportunities disappeared. But what you must understand is that separation is not about losing, it is about gaining. It is about stepping into something better, something higher, something that aligns with your true purpose. Too often, people cling to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves them. They fight to hold on to relationships that were meant to be seasonal. They mourn the loss of things that were never meant to be permanent. But when you are called to something greater, you cannot afford to be attached to what is not aligned with your destiny. Some people had to leave because they could not go where you are going. Some doors had to close because they were leading you in the wrong direction. Some opportunities had to disappear because they would have distracted you from your true purpose. It is not rejection, it is protection. The pain of separation is real, and it can be difficult to see its purpose when you are in the middle of it. When people walk away, when friendships fade, when things that once felt secure suddenly shift, it can feel like you are being pushed aside, as if you were not enough, as if you were overlooked. But the truth is, you were not overlooked. You were set apart. You were not pushed away. You were pulled higher. What feels like rejection is actually a divine repositioning, a strategic shift that is making room for something greater in your life. Many times, separation happens because you have outgrown certain places, certain people, certain environments. Growth requires change, and change often comes with discomfort. When you begin to evolve, when you begin to step into your calling, not everyone will be able to go with you. Some people will misunderstand you, some will distance themselves, some will no longer feel connected to you, and it will hurt. But it is not a reflection of your worth, it is a reflection of your growth. You are being stretched, elevated, and moved into a new season, and not everything from your past can come with you. It is easy to take separation personally, to assume that if someone left, if something ended, if a door closed, it must mean you were not good enough. But that is a lie. Your value is not determined by who stays or who leaves. Your purpose is not dictated by who recognizes it or who does not. Some people will walk away not because you did something wrong, but because their part in your story has ended. Some situations will shift not because you are failing, but because you are growing. And when you begin to see separation as part of the journey, rather than a sign of rejection, you will embrace it with a new perspective. The world teaches that rejection means failure, that if someone leaves your life, if something does not work out, it must mean you are not enough. But that is not the truth. Rejection is often the greatest redirection. The end of one thing is often the beginning of something far greater. What looks like a closed door is actually an open path to something new, something more aligned with your purpose. If you knew what was ahead, if you could see the full picture, you would not mourn what was lost, you would celebrate what is coming. Separation is necessary for elevation. You cannot rise while carrying unnecessary weight. You cannot step into your future while clinging to the past. Some relationships were only meant to be part of your journey for a season. Some opportunities were stepping stones, not destinations. When things shift, when people leave, when situations change, do not see it as rejection. See it as preparation. See it as a divine adjustment, a rearranging of things to set you up for the next level. There will be moments when you feel alone. Moments when you wonder why you are walking this path, seemingly by yourself. But in those moments, remember this: being set apart often means standing alone for a season. It means learning to walk in faith, even when you do not fully understand the path ahead. It means trusting that even when things do not go the way you expected, they are still working for your good. It means believing that every separation is making room for something better, something that truly aligns with your destiny. If you focus too much on what was lost, you will miss what is being gained. If you spend all your energy mourning what is gone, you will not have the strength to embrace what is coming. Do not waste time looking back, questioning why things had to change. Instead, trust that every shift, every transition, every separation is part of a greater plan. Trust that nothing is removed from your life without purpose. Trust that the discomfort you feel now is shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for something greater. When you look back at this season in the future, you will see it differently. You will understand why certain things had to end. You will see why some people could not stay. You will realize that what you thought was rejection was actually protection. What you thought was loss was actually gain. What you thought was a setback was actually a setup for something greater. So do not mistake separation for rejection. Do not let temporary loneliness make you doubt your worth. Do not let the pain of transition make you question your purpose. You are not being cast aside, you are being set apart. You are not being forgotten, you are being prepared. You are not being rejected. When the time comes, when the new doors open, when the right people enter your life, when the greater purpose unfolds, you will understand that every separation was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. Loneliness is not an empty space, it is an opportunity. It is a season that, if embraced correctly, can transform you in ways that nothing else can. Too often, people view loneliness as something to escape, something to fill, something to distract themselves from. But what if loneliness is not meant to break you, but to build you? What if it is a divine invitation to grow, to strengthen, to develop into the person you were always meant to be? In moments of solitude, you are given the rare chance to see yourself clearly, without the noise of the world, without the opinions of others clouding your mind. In these quiet spaces, the deepest parts of you are revealed. You begin to understand what truly matters, what is necessary and what is not. You gain clarity about the things you have been ignoring, the things you have been avoiding, the areas in your life that need attention and growth. Loneliness forces you to sit with yourself, and that can be uncomfortable. It is in this space that you realize where your true strength comes from. It is here that your weaknesses are exposed, but also where they can be transformed. When you are surrounded by people, by constant distractions, it is easy to hide from the deeper work that needs to be done. But in solitude, you have no choice but to confront yourself. This is not a curse, it is a gift. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in the stretching, in the refining, in the places where you feel uncomfortable, uncertain, even restless. When you find yourself in a season of loneliness, it is a sign that something in you is being prepared for more. It is a time to develop wisdom, to strengthen your foundation, to grow in ways that will sustain you in the future. Every season of preparation requires a time of separation. Every great purpose is preceded by a season of solitude. It is in loneliness that you learn resilience. When there is no one to validate you, no one to affirm you, no one to constantly reassure you, you are forced to find strength from within. You are forced to stand firm on what you know to be true, rather than relying on the approval of others. This is how true confidence is built, not by external validation, but by an unshakable inner foundation. Loneliness teaches you to listen. When life is busy, when you are constantly surrounded by people, by entertainment, by endless distractions, it is easy to drown out the still, small voice within. But when everything is quiet, you begin to hear. You begin to recognize truths that you once ignored. You gain direction that was previously hidden by the noise. This is why seasons of loneliness are necessary. They create the space for clarity, for revelation, for a deeper understanding of who you are and where you are going. In these seasons, you must resist the urge to run. The temptation will be strong to fill the emptiness with anything that will take away the discomfort, meaningless relationships, distractions, habits that do not serve you. But if you do that, you will miss the purpose of this season. Instead of running, lean into it. Instead of trying to escape, embrace the growth that is happening. Use this time wisely, because it will not last forever. This is the time to develop your mind, to expand your knowledge, to grow in wisdom. Read, learn, Invest in yourself. Strengthen your skills. Prepare for the future. Build habits that will serve you long after this season has passed. If you waste this time, if you spend it in frustration, wishing for something different, you will emerge from it unchanged. But if you embrace it, if you use it to grow, you will come out stronger, wiser, and ready for what is ahead. Loneliness also reveals who truly belongs in your life. When you are no longer useful to people, when you have nothing to offer but yourself, you see who remains. You see who values you for who you are, not just for what you can give. This is a painful but necessary revelation. It strips away the superficial and leaves only what is real. It is better to walk with a few who are true than to surround yourself with many who do not truly care. This season is shaping you. It is preparing you. It is making you into someone who can handle what is coming next. Growth is not always visible in the moment, but every strong foundation is built in the unseen places. The deeper your roots, the higher you will rise. Do not despise this time. Do not see it as wasted. It is doing something in you that is far more valuable than you can imagine. There will come a time when you look back on this season and understand why it was necessary. You will see how it shaped you, how it strengthened you, how it positioned you for greater things. You will realize that loneliness was never about punishment. It was about preparation. It was never about lack. It was about making space for something better. And when that time comes, you will be grateful that you did not waste this season, but used it to become everything you were meant to be.